And now let's turn to the Senate, where tempers flared earlier today when the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti, was reassigned another seat. The rearrangement of her seat is due to the vacuum created by the movement of Senator Ned Nwoko and Senator Francis Ezenwa from the PDP to the APC, enabling them to move seats to the ruling eye of the divide in the chamber. The Chief Whip of the Senate, Tahir Munguno, while citing Order 6, Rule 2 of the Senate Standing Rules, says it permits the Senate President to reallocate seats to any lawmaker at his discretion. He further explained that Senator Natasha's refusal to relocate to the new seat assigned to her will leave the President of the Senate no other option than to exercise powers not to allow her contribute on any matter on the floor if she so remains on her previous seat. Her attempt to move a motion of citing a breach of her privileges was turned down by the President of the Senate. The chamber soon turned rowdy, forcing Senator Akpabio to order the Sergeant-at-Arms to take her out of the chamber, but other lawmakers pleaded on her behalf.
And what surprised to report that Senator Natasha, having given another seat, refused to vacate her former seat. Now that Senator Natasha insisted on staying on her former seat in spite of the rearrangement of the seats, I am craving for indulgence to resume the seat that has been lawfully allocated to her.
Dismissed Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, Order 10 on privileges. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the contempt of breach of privilege has been...
that allows suspension immediately.
Let's bring in Senate spokesman Yemi Adaramola, who joins me live from our studios in Abuja. Thanks for joining us, distinguished. Reactions already trail these very dramatic turnout of events earlier today. Some say, considering the previous face-off between Natasha Akpoti and the Senate President last year, that this perhaps a continuity of the rivalry between both individuals. How do you react to this?
That's very abusive. When you are talking about rivalry, there cannot be any rivalry. The Senate President is the head of the Senate, and then we put the Senate President there. It's at our own prerogative that we made Senator Godswill Akpabio as the Senate President, and then as the presiding officer of the Senate, we are bound to obey, we are bound to respect, we are bound to queue behind him. There's no rivalry. That is number one. Then what happened today was just a mere storm in a teacup. It's nothing to celebrate. It is just a mere, like I said, just a storm in a teacup, because the issue of sitting in the National Assembly, not only in the Senate, is the prerogative of the presiding officer. It is even in our order, that is Rule 6, that the Senate President can allocate seats to senators as the case may be, as he deems fit, as the leadership deems fit. Even myself, personally, as Yemi Adarabodu, the Senate spokesperson, I have been allotted seats 3 or 4 times in this 10th Senate. So I did not raise any issue. So that one shouldn't raise any issue at all. So there's even no problem about it, though it has already been settled. The only thing is that when the senator, our sister Senator Natasha Akpoti, when she was raising the issue of a point of order, it had already been raised by the chief whip of the Senate that Senator Natasha should go to the proper seat that is now newly allotted to her. It is until you get to that proper seat which is allotted to you officially that you can raise any order, whatever order for that matter. If you do not go to that seat that is allotted to you, definitely the presiding officer will not recognize you to talk. That is what happened today. And like I said, like that is just a storm in the teacup. It's nothing to celebrate. It's nothing to even start commenting about perniciously or perilously. So it is just a mere just a mere protocol matter, which had already been resolved in the Senate today. And at the end of the day, all the senators laughed, including the Senator Natasha Akpoti, agreed that yes, the Senate President had presided very well, and according to the rules of the Senate, and according to what the Senate, the way the Senate has already put down in our standing order and in our rules, which is statutory, which all of us must obey. So I don't think there's any issue about that one. And then for us to say that maybe something happens sometimes and nothing has ever happened between Senator Akpabio, the Senate President, and any senator for that matter, either is Senator Natasha Akpoti or any senator for that matter. So the Senate President had no personal matter to settle or any score to settle with any senator in the National Assembly.
Well, it's good that you're clearing that, because there are conversations as regards measures being put in place by the Senate to address what some have, addressed, some have called underlying issues that led to today's confrontation and to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. But just for some clarity, was there a specific breach of the Senate rules today, and are there consequences? Because at some point, she was asked to be walked out of the chamber.
Well, it's not something so fundamental. The rule is that any seat that is allotted to any senator, that's where you can sit, and you can raise your hand and to be recognized for you to raise any other either point of order or to contribute to any debate, even either motion or a bill in the National Assembly. If you are not there, definitely the Senate President, who is the presiding officer, will show you and will tell you and then call you to order. That was the only thing that happened today. And then this issue will first of all be raised by the Chief Whip, who is in charge of the discipline and welfare, who is in charge of order and orderliness of the Senate. The Chief Whip raised that observation and then notified all senators, including the Senate President, that the senator in question, that is Senator Natasha Akpoti, was not sitting on where she was allotted. And so because of that, she would not be recognized to even raise any point of order until she moved to that seat. Definitely, there's no rule, there's no order that showed that the Senate President should either write a letter to any senator or phone a senator or tell the senator prior that this is where you are going to sit or this is not where you are going to sit. When you get to the chamber, you locate where you are sitting. If you have any confusion where you are sitting, then you approach the sergeant at arms. If the sergeant at arms is not there for you to approach, then you approach any of the presiding officers in the chamber. And so you'll be shown. And immediately you are shown, then you sit there. We are 109, except the Senate President, who sits in front of all of us. They're facing all of us. So there are enough seats. And it's not about whether somebody is either from Ekiti or from Kogi or from Anambra that will determine where you will sit. One, the Senate President, which is the presiding officer, can determine where you sit by any kind of criteria. It can be by ranking. It can be by whatever base. And then wherever you are seated, the Senate President will definitely identify you and call you when you raise up your hands to contribute to any debate.
All right. Our spokesperson for the Senate, Senator Adaramodu, thank you so much for talking to us.